Hey everybody, it's Matt Cama, founder of TBTC and author of the #1 best-selling book, The Secret to Self-Love. And in this video, I want to show you how you can have higher levels of self-confidence with your body. How you can get to the point where you're not comparing yourself to other people, where you're not criticizing how you look in the mirror or when you wear certain clothes, right? And before I reveal how you can do that, I want to ask you a question. What does it take in order for someone to be happy with themselves? And what does it take in order for someone to be unhappy with themselves? And more specifically for you, what is it going to take in order for you to start to feel happy with yourself? Now some of you may be thinking, well, in order for me to feel happy with myself, it's going to take getting rid of that excess body fat that I have. Or it's going to come from, me toning up my body. And if you think that transforming the way that you look is going to equal happiness with your body, then you're wrong. Now sometimes it does equal happiness with your body, and I'll talk about why that happens, in a second. But a lot of the time what happens is you can transform the way that you look, but still feel unhappy with yourself, Let me give you an example. Has there been a time where in the past you actually looked a lot more better than how you look currently right now? Now if you said yes, then here's what I want you to think about. If you were to step back into this time where you actually looked better in the past compared to how you look now, would you agree that if you were to step back into the same mindset that you had here, you still weren't happy with yourself? For most of you watching this video, you'd agree that that is true. Well, let me ask you another question. If you think that transforming the way that you look is going to determine your happiness, I'm guessing that there is a perception of how you need to look in order for you to feel happy. But don't you know someone who fits that perception, who fits those standards of what needs to happen in order for you to feel happy, but even though they have that dream body that you want, isn't it true that some people have that dream body but are still unhappy with themselves? You see, transforming the way that you look, that doesn't always equal happiness. Because if that did, then everyone who would have that body would be happy with themselves. But the truth is, that is not the case. You see, there is a formula for self-love. There is a formula for looking at yourself in the mirror and being happy with yourself. And here is the formula. It's very, very simple. You see, happiness with your body is determined by two simple factors, and that is LC plus BP equals happiness with your body. Now some of you may be thinking, Matt, what the hell does LC and BP stand for? It's very, very simple. You see, LC stands for life conditions. Life conditions basically means the body that you currently have, your current life condition, your current body, right? Pretty simple to follow. So your current body plus your blueprint is basically just a belief about what needs to happen in order for you to feel happy. Your mental blueprint about what things need to happen in order for you to feel happy. Now, here's what it takes in order for someone to be happy, and here's what it takes in order for someone to feel unhappy. You see, someone who is happy with their body, their life conditions, their current body matches their blueprint. It matches how they need to look in order for them to feel happy. You see, when your life conditions match your blueprint, then you are happy with your body. But when your current life conditions, when your current body doesn't match your blueprint about how you need to look in order for you to feel happy, then there is a feeling of unhappiness. Then what starts to happen, you start to criticize yourself. Then what happens, you start to compare yourself to other people. You see, if you want to have self-confidence, two things need to happen. Either one, you need to change your life conditions. Change how you currently look in order for you to match the blueprint of what needs to happen in order for you to feel happy. That's one thing, that's one route that you can go on, right? Transform the way that you look. And that's what I was mentioning before, that sometimes you can transform the way that you look and feel happy with yourself because you're toning your body up, you're getting those abs that you've always wanted, you're getting that bubble butt that you've always wanted, you're getting those boobs that you've always wanted, by changing the way that you look, right? However, there is a second way. And the second way to transform the way that you feel about yourself, to have that self-confidence, is to change your blueprint. Change your mental blueprint about what needs to happen in order for you to feel happy. And it is much more simple than you think. You see, all a blueprint is the belief system. That's all, it's just a basic belief system. And belief systems can change just like that. If you don't believe me, for some of you watching this video, you used to believe in Santa Claus, right? Isn't there a time when you used to believe in Santa Claus and then all of a sudden overnight in a split second, you said you believe that, okay, now Santa Claus isn't real. Right? Belief systems can change, and in order for you to change your blueprint, that's the first belief system that you need to have. You need to believe that this mental blueprint can change. You need to believe that you can start to perceive yourself differently compared to how you perceive yourself right now. And when that happens, remember this. When you change your belief systems, your perception changes. To give you an example, has there ever been a time when you fell in love with someone, right? Or maybe you really liked that person, and you were attracted to that person. You used to love the way that they looked. You used to love everything about them. And all of a sudden, you broke up with that person. Or all of a sudden, they cheated on you. Or all of a sudden, something happened and you just got into a fight and you just started to dislike that person, right? And then you started to perceive them differently. You started to look at them and you weren't actually attracted compared to how you used to be. Now what happens then? All that basically happened was there was a change in the belief system. And when you change your belief systems, your perception of other people change. Your perception of the world changes. And when you change your belief systems about yourself, your perception of you changes. And you will start to love yourself. You will start to be confident with yourself. So how do you change your blueprint? It's very simple. Step one, you must create a new story. I want you to consciously create, because here's what you need to understand. Your blueprint right now that you have, it wasn't consciously created. It was unconsciously created. You went throughout life and a few things started to happen. You started to go through visual programming, verbal programming, and you also went through something called significant emotional events. And I'll leave a link below about a video that describes these 3 types of conditioning. But when those conditioning things start to happen, right, those 3 types of conditioning, what happens is this blueprint starts to be formed, and it's unconscious that this blueprint starts to be formed. And then what happens though, throughout going through those social conditionings that we go through, it's not always the most healthy blueprint. You see, the result is where in order for women to be happy with themselves, here's what needs to happen. They need to have the most perfect waist. They need to have model aesthetics. They need to have the most perfect hair. They need to make sure that the skin is perfect. There's no blemishes. They need to make sure that they have big boobs. They need to make sure they have this big butt. They need to make sure they have this slim toned waist in order for them to feel happy with themselves. There is this unrealistic expectation, unrealistic blueprint that has been unconsciously created for women and men as well. And that's why there are so many people who feel unhappy with themselves, because there is this unrealistic expectation of what needs to happen in order for someone to feel happy with themselves. It's time to break through that bullshit and create consciously a new blueprint. It's time to redesign what needs to happen in order for you to feel happy, but do it consciously. So the way that you do this, grab a piece of paper out or grab something that you can type on Microsoft Word or something like that, and literally type out a new story, a new belief about what needs to happen in order for you to feel happy, and make it easy. You see, I'm going to give some examples. There is a link below this video if it's on YouTube. There's a link below this video if you're on my website, you'll see it down below. But I'm going to create some examples of, just so then that way you can get some thought patterns on how you can actually do this. So if you're on YouTube, click the link below and you'll be able to go into a blog post and I'll give some examples. But that's step number 1, create a new story. Step number 2, what you need to do is, you need to start to do incantations. If you watched my videos before, I've talked about this. What an incantation really is, it's kind of like an affirmation. If you're like, Matt, what the hell is an affirmation? An affirmation is something that you speak out loud in order for you to create a new belief system. And it's usually formed in a structure like this. It usually sounds something like this. I am, and then a positive word. So for example, I am happy. I am sexy. I love myself. I am beautiful, right? And by saying those words over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right, new belief systems start to become created. And that's how those belief systems were created for you in the past, those unhealthy belief systems. You said something to yourself, either consciously or unconsciously, again and again and again, and all of a sudden those belief systems started to become created. Because here's what you need to know. What you speak is what you will become. If you say to yourself, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, consciously or unconsciously, hundreds of times a day, you are literally reprogramming your brain to create belief systems that it's going to distort your perception of reality, and you're going to see yourself as ugly, right? So here's what you need to do. Create incantations. From that story that you created, I want you to circle certain things that stand out and create an incantation. An incantation is just like an affirmation. I am sexy, I am beautiful. The difference though is that you are engaging all of your senses. You're engaging your visual sense by visualizing yourself having more self-confidence. You're engaging your auditory sense by playing music in the background, right? You're engaging your kinesthetic sense by using hand gestures or moving your body around. And when you do all those things, it starts to go deeper into your subconscious mind, the most powerful part of our brain. You can also add the olfactory sense by having scent in the environment that you're doing those incantations. And there's another one called gustatory, which is your taste sense, but I can't really think of anything on how you can use that to engage your incantation a little bit more powerful. But that's what you want to be doing incantations, saying I am sexy, I am happy, I love myself, and saying that with emotional intensity and doing it consistently every single day. Now, in order for people may think you're crazy, but do it in your car, right? Have some practice in your car, play some music, and then all of a sudden when you're driving, have certain phrases that you just want to say to yourself again and again and again. And the key is to do this daily. Because if you just say it one time, that new belief system will not be created. So that's step number 2. I'm going to leave some examples again in the blog post that you can copy. And then step number 3, what you need to do is refrain from certain situations, social media outlets that is influencing you to compare yourself to other people. Now, you don't have to refrain from that social media outlet completely, such as Facebook, Instagram, whatever other social media outlet that you use. But what I do want you to do is refrain from following certain people that just post bullshit that is constantly, posting all this abs photos, all these photos is just pure just about aesthetics, right? Because when you constantly see that and you program your brain to say, this is what I need to look like in order for me to feel happy, then you'll never really feel happy. Because sometimes those photos aren't really real. Those photos have been filtered, those photos have been having the perfect angle, but when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't have that perfect angle, so you start to feel unhappy with yourself. So what I believe in is doing a social media cleanse. Start to unfollow people who just post that bullshit that is all about aesthetics, that is all about material things. So that's my recommendation. Do those 3 things. Check out the blog post, you'll be able to get a little bit more information on that as well. And you'll see that this new blueprint will start to be formed. The key is to do this consistently. You change your blueprint, and all of a sudden you'll start to feel happy with yourself, and you'll have the exact same body that you have now, but the only thing that changed was your belief system. You do that and watch how much more happier you'll be. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I'd really like for you to leave a comment below and tell me what you thought of this video. If you haven't already, thumbs up this video, subscribe to this channel, and until I see you in the next video, remember to love all living things, and most importantly, love thyself.